Hey friends, thanks for joining us. Smash that subscribe button, leave a like. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
You can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everyone's favorite TikTok, and don't forget to check us out on Reddit.
Yes, thank you for checking us out on Reddit. I love Reddit. I don't know why I've fallen in love with Reddit, but I enjoy Reddit, so check us out on Reddit. Let's just get into it. Winnipeg Jets, NHL Playoff Talk. Winnipeg Jets, the week that was, I'll go first, almost as bad as it could get. Losses, obviously, horrible losses, losing both games at home with the whiteout. We were so optimistic after stealing one in Vegas, and then they lose both. And like you mentioned earlier before we pressed record, 7 losses in a row with the whiteout, 6-11 overall with the whiteout. So yes, that hurt. But then to add on, you lose your best defenseman and you lose number 55 Scheifele for game number 5. So that's almost as bad as it can get. If they lost Hellebuck, that would have been the worst. So thank goodness he's there.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good week at all for the Winnipeg Jets. I would term it as the week there was humbling. Like you said, we won that first game, played well in that second game. You're thinking, okay, they might be able to take at least one of these ones at home, or you expect them to, right?
Yeah.
Like we say, that whiteout should give them enough energy, but it doesn't seem to be. Like even Vegas scored within the first 3 minutes of game 3. That quiets the crowd down right away, and then the Jets were down 4-1 at one point. They managed to fight back, tied up, send it to overtime, and an unlucky bounce sent things towards Vegas, in that one. But game 4 to me was close, but the Jets really didn't seem all that in it.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like they ever had a chance to win it in a way. And then losing Scheifele that early in the game, that hurt. Like you say, Morrissey was out. Having no Ehlers, it's tough right now for the Jets and to find that secondary scoring. And now Scheifele is already out for game 5, so we're in trouble there.
And you never want to complain about a world-class goalie like Hellebuck. He's a Vezina contender, top 3 goalie, in my opinion, in the league. My opinion doesn't matter much. I'm just a fan. But when you have a goalie of that caliber, not that he's playing bad and not that he's being outplayed so much by Brossois, he's just playing steady, making the saves that he has to. But Hellebuck is not stealing the game or two that we thought he would at this point. And they really need that, obviously, going into game 5. And that doesn't absolve the forwards from their inability to score or get any offense going. But just saying that it's surprising that Hellebuck hasn't taken at least one of these games on his shoulders and pulled it out for the Jets.
Yeah, I agree with that. He even last game, the first goal was a bit unlucky. I mean, the guy Howden, got the shot blocked by Pionk, and then he's there for the rebound, blasting it in. And then I thought Helly settled down and he was making some wicked saves. And I was thinking, okay, this is the game. This is the game that he's going to take. And then unfortunately, the second goal again, unlucky. He's coming across. He's a bit out of his crease, but his pad gets stuck on Carlson's leg, which doesn't allow him to close that 5-hole. Carlson gets the tip and it's a goal. And then the third one, it was tipped, it was deflected, but he probably could have stopped that one as well. So it's just unfortunate bounces going his way. And he even said that today. He's not kind of getting the luck, that goalies kind of get, that Brossois is kind of getting, because how many scrambles have happened in that Vegas end or around that crease and the puck just stays out of that net. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But every bounce, like even the overtime winner, like a bounce went right to the guy and he wired it without even looking, but it went bar down. Like you're sitting there going, come on, man. Like where's all this luck? And right now it's on Vegas's side. But I do agree. Helly's got to come out. He's got to help steal this next game or play lights out, and the Jets forwards have to get it done somehow.
Yeah. Like I said, that does not absolve the forwards. Like when we had an episode, I think they were at the height of them feeling good going into the playoffs. I was like, sorry to be wet blanket, but the only one concern I have was their ability to get into the offensive zone. And that's still killing them. Like, it's weird watching them get a turnover and then they look up and it takes forever to either get a pass going, and their 1-2-2 neutral zone setup in Vegas is already cemented. Yeah. By the time they get the pass off and it's in someone's skates, or Vegas turns it over, takes it. Or else the Jets are all clumped together in a pile, not able to break out, and then Vegas just presses a play into the boards. So they just still can't get any kind of momentum going into Vegas's zone, and even a dump in once they dump it in, Vegas is on top of it. They can't get behind Vegas. It's frustrating. I don't know if it's a coaching thing or a player's thing. I'm not that well versed in hockey. You know me. I'm a fan. This is a fan's point of view. That's what I'm seeing. They just can't produce offense.
Well, one of the things where Vegas, you want to call it luck or getting their goals from, they're driving that net. They got bodies in front of the net. They're throwing it out there and they're getting the bounces. As for the Jets, I mean, there's a lot of outside shots. There's not a lot going on in front of that net in front of Brossoit. The only line that really, to me, is getting to that net is it's the Lowry line. Like, and they're causing havoc. I'm sorry, I like Lowry. I love him. But when he's leading your team in playoff scoring right now with 4, that's not a good thing, right? No. I mean, where's Kyle Connor? He's got 2 goals. You know, a lot of perimeter shots. Dubois, to me, that guy can be a force. He can be really good when he wants to, but his penalty taking the last 2 games,
it's ridiculous.
It's terrible, especially the last game when the game seemed fairly even and kind of back and forth chances, nothing crazy happening. He went and took the stupid check on Eichel there, stuck out his leg, tripped him up. It's like, come on, man, that was not needed. That's the Carlson goal right after the power play ended. It changed the complexion of the game for me. And you know, and Dubois, yeah, he got a goal late, but it didn't help anything.
Yeah, he absolutely can be a force. And I really hope it's kind of morbid to say, but I hope his game 5, 6, and 7, knock on wood, hopefully, is a show to Winnipeg fans of what we're going to miss. Because we know he's out the door. I just want to see him go out well. And I don't want to see him to be, I'm the Columbus guy that kind of went half-assed out the door. You know what I mean? So, if you, like you said, he could be a force if he's not in the penalty box.
Yeah, and not taking dumb penalties at the wrong time. Even the penalty in overtime the other day, the second one, not necessarily the first one, but the second one. Why? Not needed. Yeah. You know, and they killed it off, but unfortunately Vegas scored right after that. So that kind of stuff, he's got to clean that up. If you want to be the star player that you want to be, or you know, eventually end up wherever you want to be and be that guy, he's got to clean that stuff up. And it drives us crazy, and it drives you crazy as a fan because you know he doesn't probably want to be here long term. So you're hoping he can go out with a bang, but when you watch him do stuff, it frustrates you. So
now's the time to make your money.
Yeah.
This is where you make your money, especially with Scheifele not playing game 5. And we'll talk about game 5 in a second. This is your time to shine. You are it's not 1A center, 1B center. You are 1A center.
Yeah, you're all alone.
You got to rest today in practice.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's going to be, I guess, we'll talk about lineups coming up into game 5. But little shout out to also, you said Lowry, to Wheeler, who's also picked up his game. Maybe he is also going out with a bang. And also a shout out to Pionk, who's picked up a lot of minutes, played very admirably. And I really like how Nemestikov. Oh gosh, help me with that.
Nemestikov.
See, you can't even say it properly.
I got it better than you.
Nemestikov is done. You know who I'm talking about? Number 7. Shout out to him. I love the physical play. He seemed like a little bit of a troublemaker, a nuisance, and I think we need him for that. So, shout out for taking that role.
Yeah, hopefully he can chip in a couple goals. I mean, the Jets are going to need a lot of help here without Scheifele, Ehlers, Morrissey. They'll need some other guys to step it up, and they'll need it soon.
So let's talk about concerns in game 5, or how they can win game 5. What needs to be done to win game 5? We've pretty much talked about it in the previous segments, I guess. Hellebuck, I feel, needs to steal the game here. We really need him to step up. And like you said, he's not been playing bad. There's been some horrible bounces, some tip passes, some deflections off of skates. But we just need him to steal that game. Play on his head. Is that what they say? Stand on his head.
Yep.
That's what the people call it.
That's what they do. Yeah. You know, we talked about Scheifele's out. Ehlers, game time decision. So hopefully he can get in there. But even if he's in there, how effective is he going to be? He's probably not going to be 100%. Jets power play has been good. They've scored 5 of the 13 goals on the power play. Yeah. Keep that going. But that means 5-on-5, the Jets need more goals here. And that's where the other guys are going to have to step up. You know, not named Lowry right now. Dubois, Connor have to have the game of their lives here to keep it going. That second line needs a little bit more. Wheeler, he's been good. I'm not faulting anything, but he's not the guy to lead that offense anymore, kind of thing. He's the secondary guy on that line. So when he is that main guy, it makes it tougher. So hopefully Ehlers can get back in there and help him out. But we're gonna need some, and Helly's gonna have to be Vesnabuk.
Vesnabuk, my favorite nickname. I think Wheeler can be. It's not bad if Wheeler is that guy. If he's going to go out with a bang, that's fine. If he has a little bit of gas left in the tank and he's going to spend it now, then fine. I'm okay with that because he might have to be with Scheifele out and with Ehlers, like you said, not playing at 100%. But it'll be interesting to see what that bottom six can do. That Lowry line has been playing well. We'll see the fourth line, what kind of fourth line minutes they have. They're going to rely heavily on 1 and 2. Yeah. Like heavy minutes.
Probably going to have to be. I mean, Stenlund does have a goal in the playoffs at least. So that matches a lot of the top 6 guys even for goals. So
yeah.
So at least he's got one. But if they can chip in another one tomorrow night, that would be fantastic. But the top 6, top 9, I guess, we include that Lowry. The Lowry line to me has been the best line of the playoffs. They've been the most consistent.
Without a doubt.
You know what you're getting when they're on that ice, and they're gonna give her for their 30 seconds to 60-second shift or whatever it is. Yeah. And not stop the whole time. And they'll generate scoring chances. So we'll see. Big game.
All right. Go Jets, go.
We've blown so many 3-1 leads in Jets history. It's time to return the favor and finally win one of those 3-1 series that you're down.
The hockey spirits owe us.
Yes, they do.
Is this
fine? Come on. One time I want to see a 3-1 deficit erased in the Jets' favor.
Benny wants the one time. Benny just wants a one time. All right. Well, let's talk about the other Canadian teams just briefly before we move on. Toronto Maple Leafs, cautiously optimistic with a 3-1 lead. As a Leafs fan, I'll let you go first because I don't want to be too biased. So I'll hear what you have to say, and then people can judge me after.
Big comeback win in game 4 that they were down 4-1 going into the third, tying it up at 4, going into overtime and winning it in overtime.
Yeah.
To me, for the most part, Tampa has probably been the better team in this series, but Toronto has got it done. And even in game 3, when they came back to tie it late, and they were also down and out in a couple goals, tie it late and then win it in overtime. They've figured out a way to not get down on themselves and to keep fighting. They got the firepower to do it. So they're never out of it. Even when I saw the score, I'm like 4-1. I'm like, Tampa better not just sit back and hope for the best here. And Vasilevsky has not been the best so far in these playoffs. He's let a lot of long range goals in. So if he's being pedestrian, Toronto have a great chance.
Did you see that ex-coach of his on TV?
Yeah.
Like, not that NHL teams wouldn't know that at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure he's informing us what is going on at this point, why they are doing what they're doing, and why it's being successful. But wow, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, John Cooper responded to that today as well. So, but it's true.
It's fair game.
It's true though. And Toronto must know because Riley's just chucking pucks, like not even blasting it. He's just
absolutely.
Even the overtime winner in game 3 there, he just chucked the puck at the net and it went in.
Yeah.
You know?
They know. So, obviously, they know. He's just informing us fans.
Yeah.
What's going on and why it's happening. It's not a fluke.
No, not at all.
And it's not. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Say it.
And it's not Vasilevsky like decaying in front of our eyes. No, it's just they saw the soft spot.
Yeah, and they did, and they're getting traffic in front of them and a lot of tipped goals. Even the overtime winner, I texted you. I'm like, oh, Vazzy's having a rough time, and then I saw the replay. I'm like, oh, actually, that was a nice tip. Vazzy had no chance. And his D have to help him out there and clear those guys out. So, to me, Samsonov also needs to be better for Toronto. He's letting in a lot of goals as well, and it's going to be tougher for them to go farther in the playoffs if he's playing like that. But yeah, critical game 5, right? Toronto need to win this one. Because if they lose this one, the doubt's creeping a little bit, and they got, and then you got to go back to Tampa for game 6. So if I'm Toronto, you definitely want to try your best to finish this off in 5.
Oh, they got it. They got it. Obviously, if you want to cut that throat, you got to cut that throat. You're at home.
Yeah.
But if I was that coach, I for sure would have given that info a long time ago and with a little bit of cash in my back pocket. Just saying. And how about the other Canadian team, Edmonton? I always thought they would have a tough time with LA, but for some reason it feels like they have the momentum, and I think they will close this one out. Next game.
Yeah.
They're not going to win game 7.
Yeah, the Kings had them. You're up 3-0 in game 4. You had them. You were about to go up 3-1 in this series, and then McDavid and Draisaitl took over the second period of that game and tied it up. And it was just a show. Like, I think they played the whole period almost, it seemed like watching them go off the ice at the end of the second, they both looked gassed. And I was texting my cousin in Edmonton, and I'm like, And he was saying the same thing. I'm like, they need someone else to step up. They can't be those two the whole time, right? And then Kane got the tying goal late in that game. Hyman scored the winner. And Jack Campbell came in, was stellar. Let in only one goal to help them get that victory in game 4. And game 5, they just showed their power and overpowered the Kings basically in that 6-3 win.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm not going to say anything. Looking forward to nothing as a Leafs fan. I'm a Jets fan, just to make it clear, primarily. But when they left town, I had to pick a team, and I picked Toronto.
Of all the teams you could have picked, though.
What's wrong? It's a Canadian team. Why? What's wrong? Why? What's wrong?
They're Toronto, man.
No
one outside of Toronto should like them.
What kind of rule is that? What kind of rule is that?
It's the NHL. It's a Canadian rule, man. Did you not read the NHL Canadian rule book?
Oh yeah, fuck the rules. That was rude. I'm sorry. I'll take a sip for that.
Yeah, there you go. Stuart Skinner has to be better for Edmonton too, man. That guy has not been good so far.
I agree. Let's move on to some. Don't put your predictions down there for the next round. Your thoughts on the Winnipeg Jets. Don't forget to smash that subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. NFL talk. Obviously, the only NFL talk going right now, other than the draft, is Aaron Rodgers, the big trade to the New York Jets. Are they a contender now? Where are they where do you rank them in NFL teams?
It's hard because that AFC is so good. You know, it's got so many good quarterbacks: Mahomes, Josh Allen, Bengals guy. What the heck's his name? Joe Burrow. Just off the bat, and then you even got Herbert and Trevor Lawrence who've stepped up, and they're still young guys, and we'll see what they can do next year. So, to me, I don't think they're yet a contender. It all depends. Their D is good, but it's still young. It's still a young team, so they need to gel. They still finished 7-10 last year. Mm-hmm. And they crumbled at crunch time. So as long as Rodgers and his new wide receivers, who are also young, who he seems to have a hard time connecting with, even in Green Bay, can get it together, then the Jets may have an opportunity. But you still got to get through some good teams and some good quarterbacks just to make the Super Bowl.
They are absolutely a contender with Aaron Rodgers. I kind of was of the same chain of thought. I'm like, nah. You know me, I'm not the biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers, but the stat that changed my mind is Aaron Rodgers is 80-10 when his team gives up 20 points or less. The Jets' young defense last year with a horrible quarterback averaged 18 points against. That defense under Salah is only going to get better and more confident with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. I get it. He's not the best character, and I've said that many times. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Karen, but the proof is in the pudding. 80-10 when that defense can hold. And, that defense is not going to get worse, I don't think, man. It'll be a fluke if that defense gets worse.
Yeah, I can't see it getting worse. For sure, no.
And there's not going to be a huge adjustment period. That Hackett offense, Aaron Rodgers had 2 of his best career years with that offense, with Hackett as his coordinator. Hackett, is that right?
Yep, Nathaniel Hackett. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. So I think they're definitely a contender in the AFC. I'd be surprised if they don't win the AFC East, to be honest with you. I've lost faith in Buffalo. I think they're losing their window. Miami, their quarterback can't stay healthy. I think he's the dangerous one to get injured again. Who am I missing else in the East?
You got Bill Belichick, basically.
Well, that's fine.
That's it. So, well, yeah, I mean, they'll make the playoffs. I can see that. I mean, well, okay. First off, Rodgers last season wasn't the greatest. He had young wide receivers, new wide receivers, couldn't find that connection. Now, I mean, he's got Adam Lazard. I forgot about Lazard. He's there, so maybe you got that connection there to build off, and that'll help with Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore and the other receivers there. You got a good running back in Breece Hall, but that offense also has to come together to help that defense out. So We'll see. They'll definitely make the playoffs. I can't see them not making the playoffs, and that AFC East will be tough, but getting through Burrows, Mahomes, and the other guys there. Let's not forget, you also got the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. The Steelers, somehow always have a tough team and are always in the thick of things, no matter how crappy they look at some points. So it's a tough conference. Like if he was in the NFC, I'd be saying Super Bowl for sure with that team, kind of thing. But it'll be a slog, and we'll see how it goes, and it'll be interesting. Last time Favre went to the Jets, it didn't turn out well. We'll see if Rodgers can reverse that a little bit.
Oh, Favre did not have the defense that the Jets have.
No, he didn't have the team
Aaron
that they
Rodgers
have now at all.
is going into a very good situation.
Oh,
That's why when he came out of the darkness, he says, I am ready to go to the Jets. He must have looked at that Jets defense in the darkness and said, yes, I'd rather be a part of that than go against it. And New York Jets know that they have a small window with these salaries and this young defense. They know this is the time to strike.
So because a lot of those guys will be up at the same time on that defense, Sauce Gardner and all those guys. So
I don't think there are any drawbacks to bringing Aaron Rodgers on board here, to be honest with you. He might be a little difficult if things don't go his way at the beginning, but I can't see that being an issue.
Yeah,
I'm on board.
Yeah, I don't see any drawbacks. It's all it is at this point is increased expectations for the Jets. And like you say, if things start bad for Rodgers with that media, that may start to rub things the wrong way. But for right now, the Jets have really nothing to lose almost in a way to make this trade.
You mentioned the media. What media do you think is worse? Because we're part of a small market media. We see with the Jets, and we see how much pressure the small media. Do you think it's worse to be in a small market like Green Bay, where you are the show, or we're in New York, where there's teams you have a team within the league itself that takes some of the media attention away? What do you think about that?
I think it's New York is going to be worse than Green Bay. Green Bay, in a way, probably, as much as that media was honest, they probably didn't want to do enough to ruffle feathers. And the NFL, it's not just a small, like the NHL, for the most part, the Jets are the Jets here in Winnipeg. Like there's no other markets talking about the Winnipeg Jets really, right? Yeah. Whereas the NFL, every market's talking about almost every other market. Plus you have the NFL Network. So media is bigger, way bigger and crazier in there. So I think it would be worse with the Jets and the expectations he has now to go over there and help them win. He even said today, he walked by the one Lombardi trophy and he said it's lonely, looked lonely. So you're already setting yourself up there saying, hey, I'm going to come bring a second one to help that guy out.
Yeah.
So now it's even more expectations.
Well, that's the confidence I think that team needs. They don't want a quarterback who they don't. I think Aaron Rodgers is Broadway Joe totally. That's that
number 8 he's going with, eh?
He's resisting making the guarantee like Broadway Joe did. Like he pretty much made that guarantee, and attached himself to Broadway Joe there. So I like that. I don't know why I'm buying into this dude who I despise for the past 3-4 years. Anyways, winner loser in this trade.
No, I don't think so. They both got what they wanted. The Packers moved on. Now they can see what Jordan Love can do. The only loser I could end up seeing this would be Salah if this doesn't work out. Really, pressure's on him now to win. Make sure that D is up to snuff. This is even good for Zach Wilson to kind of sit behind Rodgers for a couple of seasons. Maybe he turns out to be a better quarterback than what he looked like. Who knows? But
absolutely,
yeah.
Hope he doesn't take like the tendencies of Aaron Rodgers at this young of age.
Yeah,
you have to grow into that.
He did say he was going to make any veteran quarterback who came in their life living hell in practice every day. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's gangster. That's gangster. Let's move to some CFL north of the border. TSN eliminates broadcasting 2 preseason games. They refuse to say why. Just another example of the CFL failing to cash in on opportunities to grow the game.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to have them. Try some new broadcasting techniques. Try some interactive media with the fans. If it doesn't work, it's preseason. Who cares? But at least you tried it and you're trying to connect with your fans. Now they're doing nothing. I think it's trash.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me why you wouldn't have them on. I mean, what else are they even showing? They don't have the rights to the NHL playoffs. Playoffs will obviously still probably be going on at that point, but they don't have the rights to them. Anyways, you got 5 channels for the most part and plus a streaming option. Like, why not show the 2 other games? So chance to grow the league and for the CFL as well. I mean, like, why aren't you making more of a stink out of this and pressing them to figure out why they're not going to broadcast? Again, another terrible decision by TSN and one other one that I'm not really surprised by.
Bang for your buck. The CFL still has to bring them a good amount of money.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they're not using the preseason. And I'm harping on this point I just made to reinvent the game. A lot of the fans are like, hey, TSN, your presentation is old.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So you got to move forward and you got to try new things.
Yeah. And that's what preseason's for. I mean, check it out, see what you can do.
Exactly. It's not just about players on the field. It's about you and your presentation and what you can do. Gosh, it's horrible. Come on. Stop being lazy.
Good old TSN in the CFL.
Online options that you can do.
There's so much, man.
Hey,
there's so
try
much.
and call the next play. I know it's gimmicky, but it's preseason and gets people at least eyes to the game and trying stuff and hitting your website and hitting your. Let's go forward to some fun stuff. Who are you taking? We did great. We did Western all-time offense last week. That was hard. That's a mouthful. Who are you taking for your Eastern all-time starting offense this week? Let's start with quarterback. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to pick the same guy as last week. Doug Flutie.
All right.
I could have gone Damon Allen, but Doug Flutie to me is just the type of guy that you could throw in there and he'd win. And he wasn't around in the CFL long enough, but I would still figured he could have done damage if he played a 10, 15 year career in the CFL.
Yeah, Damon Allen is underrated. I chose Damon Allen. Like, he is possibly the greatest dual threat quarterback. He is, not even possibly, but no. He is the greatest dual threat quarterback in CFL history. He played for Toronto. He played for Hamilton. He played for Ottawa. He won a Grey Cup at the age of 41 in Toronto. Won the Grey Cup MVP, and the next year he threw for over 5,000 years, man. Isn't that crazy? And he broke Warren Moon's professional football record of passing yards. Of course, Anthony Calvillo broke out of that, but still. And that's while he was compiling yards as the third greatest rusher in CFL history. I'm taking Damon Allen. But I'm taking Damon Allen.
I think Doug Flutie, if he would have played the same amount of time as Damon Allen in this league, would have destroyed all that stuff. So
that's the thing. Damon Allen played till he was 40 something.
Yeah. Well, what was Flutie in the NFL?
Rare.
He was over 40, wasn't he?
Yeah, but in the NFL, he didn't play that much.
No,
those ages.
That's true.
He was a backup.
That's true. He could have played, but Buffalo, Rob Johnson.
And this is after Damon Allen broke his leg. Man,
all right. I'll agree with you.
I'm just saying. I love David.
Damon Allen was good.
Me. I'm just saying. He's amazed me. Because all this stuff, I'm like, this is crazy. Every time I look into Damon Allen, like, this is crazy. This is crazy. And I got excited, so I took him.
All right.
Who do you got for running back?
Mike Pringle. Got to take Mike Pringle. He was dominant with the Owls there and drove the Bombers nuts and all that. So he was a tough running back to bring down, man.
What a scary guy. Like, I remember sitting in the student section in Winnipeg Stadium. Those guys used to terrorize him. Steroids, steroids every time. And that would just make him angry.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, why are you doing this? And then he'd rack up like 150. I'm like, so you see, now you just made him angry, whether or not. And I didn't think he was. He was just a phenom.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where you just don't taunt him. Just leave him. But because he was already going to do damage. And then once you taunt him, it was even worse.
And then Mike Tyson, just that quiet killer.
Yeah.
Don't mess with him. Who do you got for...
Are you taking Mike Pringle as well?
Oh, yeah. I'm not joking around. I took George Reed in the West like you did. And you can't go against greatness.
No.
Like, I get it. He played in Baltimore, but his major years were in Montreal.
Yeah.
And he was just dominant.
Big time.
And we had great defenses in Winnipeg, too.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't care.
No. Not at all, man. I mean, he would just run over your guys like crazy.
Oh, man, just a terror, man. You got two receivers. I want to hear your first one.
Oh, this one was tough. I went, and I'm not totally sure on some of these, but I went with Ben Cahoon as my one receiver. Yeah. Long career in Montreal. Put up the yards, like consistent every year. And he was just a go-to guy in Montreal when they needed the yards, they needed the first down. He was the guy.
Absolutely. I can not pick. I had to pick Ben Cahoon. Like, he's still third in receptions all time.
Yeah.
With 1,017. Played his whole career in Montreal. Two-time most valuable Canadian. Greatest Canadian receiver in my history, in my books. So I'll take him.
It's funny because when you think of him, you don't think of something flashy, right? So when I was looking at this, I'm like, Really, is Ben Cahoon one of the ones? Because he wasn't that flashy kind of wide receiver that you know, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like they all got the Eagles, they all got that, but Ben Cahoon wasn't really that. So it's like, okay, is this the right pick or not? So yeah,
Mr. Consistent. And
yeah,
I remember we talked about Anthony Calvillo and leading those teams with 4 1,000-yard receivers.
yeah.
He did that twice, and Ben Cahoon was the only consistent one on both of those.
Yeah. That's funny.
Crazy.
That's crazy. I'm not surprised at all.
He's so good.
Yeah.
And he's such a nice person. And he had that crazy catch in the Grey Cup. Remember that one-hander that he stretched out for? Oh,
Yep.
my goodness.
Oh, so good.
Second receiver, I got Daryl Mookie Mitchell. Rookie of the year with the Argos when he got like 1,500 yards and 17 touchdowns in 1 year. Won the Grey Cup that year. And the next year, he got like 2,000 yards and 160 receptions, which is still a CFL record. So I'm going to take Daryl Mookie Mitchell.
I can't argue with you on that one because I got him as well on my list. So we went the same at the wide receiver spot.
Still 10th, still top 10 in receiving all-time yards.
Daryl Mookie Mitchell, man. I just another guy that I just remember tormenting the Bombers here and there. So always played well against them.
He still has a record for most receptions in a game too. So it's 16.
Yeah,
I'd like to know who that was against. Anyone, if you don't have to look Google, if you know the answer, put that in the comments. Who did Mookie Mitchell get his 16 receptions against? If it's the Bombers, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. It was in the mid-90s to late 90s, and the Bombers weren't that good. Let's move on to hot topics.
Yes.
Who should be the number one in the NFL draft?
Hey.
Who's the number one pick in the NFL draft? Sorry.
I mean, let's go Bryce Young, QB, Alabama. He's going first overall. Carolina, obviously, have that pick. They need a QB. So I figure that's the way they're going to go.
I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think that's what should happen. I think that Anthony Richardson should go number one. That big 6'4" QB from Florida. He has the highest ceiling. Carolina, they should just get a quarterback, whatever, and throw them in there for the next couple of years until they can draft the pieces to surround Richardson to be successful. He's an amazing athlete. He can do both run and pass, and I think they'd be much more successful in the long term than Bryce Young.
Yeah, they're going to need to build that team around these quarterbacks anyways because they don't have a lot there right now, trading DJ Moore to Chicago too. So it's going to be a process there.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the difference. I think Bryce Young will be a good quarterback in the NFL. I think Anthony Richardson will be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. That's why I take him.
All right.
Hot topic 2, should Marcus Foligno be suspended?
You know what? If he didn't get the 5 in the misconduct, I would say yes. But I'm going to say no because he got the 5 and the game misconduct. I didn't like the hit. He didn't stake out his leg. He had his leg out. But he also didn't bring his legs back in. Like he kind of intentionally left his legs spread out as he was going after the player there. Who was it? Fasca, right?
Yep.
So, it wasn't the greatest. He does have a history of these knee-on-knee hits. He got Lowry last year and Jacob Varacek also as well. And he's been suspended in the past. But I don't know if this one was totally malicious or not. But it could have been avoided.
I don't think he should be suspended. It was not an intentional knee-on-knee. He already planted himself on his piece of ice. Fasca was coming, and I think some of the onus does have to come on the person getting hit sometimes. And I agree with you. It was not an intentional knee. Yes, both their knees were out there. I don't think it's suspendable. Calgary Flames get a new arena my goodness. Calgary Flames get a new arena. Stampeders left out in the cold. I wrote these titles and I can't even say them. Fair? In principle, it's not fair. One team gets a nice new facility, one's still stuck with a garbage one, but the Flames have more clout. They have more economic impact. A new arena brings more opportunities for more of those money-making events. So, no, it's fair. Of course, it's fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate if you're more of a CFL fan than an NHL fan. But yeah, I do agree. NHL is where it's at compared to the CFL. They bring in more. They'll bring in more, entertainment dollars for it, and it'll be more packed in that area or that entertainment area that they're building. So, yeah, I could see it, and hopefully one day McMahon will get updated or upgraded altogether. But for now, not much you can do there. And plus, there's an election coming up in Calgary. Is it Calgary or just Alberta? Probably Calgary. But
it affects.
So yeah. So they're definitely aiming for some votes there.
And of course, the CFL leadership is in no place to make any kind of push behind this Calgary Stampeders, which is ridiculous. The league should always be in a position to be, hey, be confident in us. Yes, we need a new facility, but teams they're on their own to get their facilities. The CFL really isn't helping any, especially with this leadership. It's ridiculous. And I want Ambrosie to be successful, but I
don't think he's getting there.
Benny, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out the Winnipeg Ice, who knocked off the Moose Jaw Warriors in round 2 and have made the Eastern Conference final against the Saskatoon Blades. So good luck to them. Shout out, and hopefully they make the finals.
Yeah, that was exciting. Way to finish that 8-2 in the last game there.
Yeah, tough series altogether. Moose Jaw looked pretty good, and then the Ice found a way.
Benny, do you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, leave us a rating on your favorite podcast subscriber or podcast. Yeah,
provider.
It's
a hard time to talk right now. We're not used to recording on this day. We record usually 2 days earlier. It's like midweek. We're like, what the heck's going on? Words, never mind. In the words of LeVar Burton, in the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. Words. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.